Have you ever tried to lay out all of the weekly content for your modules? I know sometimes it gets kind of jumbled or it can become disorganized, but I'm going to jump into our course modules document to show you how we do it at LEPU so that every single week is organized and you can really see the student experience. Let's get started. So in our course modules document, again, I'm sure you're familiar with this table that is at the top. If you have seen any of my other videos, it includes the course number, name, and course description. And again, that is just to make sure that everyone's in the right place, we're working in the right documents for the right course, and that you're good to go before you start making changes. The next thing that we have here is the CLOs. So once the vision document is approved by our governing educational body or academic body, we would paste the updated CLOs right here. And the reason we do that is so that they're easy to refer to, and we can ensure, again, that we find that really good alignment of all of the information in our course learning objectives with all of the weekly content as well, and that we have either addressed or that we have included every single thing that is included in that objective so that we can assess it upon completion of the course. The next thing that we have here is our just-in-time training, which may also look familiar if you've seen another one of my videos. We have built in this just-in-time training to the document so that everyone on the design team is aware of what information is required and what goes in each section. I highly recommend this if you work with individuals that are not internal employees, because a lot of subject matter experts work for multiple institutions, or regardless of that, they just don't always know what expectations your institution has. So it's very helpful to just build in this training and to have it available right in the document so that it's easy to refer to, and that it really does guide all members of the all members of the course design team through the process of mapping out the weekly content as well. So we have our just-in-time training. I'm just going to scroll through that, but basically it explains for each section of a module, which is the weekly content, what information goes in which section. So if you're looking for more information on that, leave me a comment and I will jump into our just-in-time training for each of the documents if that's something that you're interested in as well. So I'm just going to go through one module. We run on 8-week terms. So in each course, there are 8 modules, which correspond to each individual week of the 8-week term. But I'm just going to go through one, and each week is the same format. So just keep that in mind as well. So we have our weekly topic title as the first item. So you would just enter in whatever makes sense for a topic title for the week. And then I do also want to point out that we have our notes column on the side, and usually that's where we would leave notes if we need to address other items, or if we need to leave a specific note about something that is going to be in that week, then we would put it in that column. This is separate from leaving a Google comment. Usually we try to leave Google comments if there's something where we need to tag somebody, or if it's more of a conversation rather than a note that's pertinent to the material. So just keep that in mind as well. If it's a note call in the note column, that means it's pertinent to the course material. If it is a Google comment, which would show up on the side over here, that's usually more of a conversation between the design team members. So we have our weekly topic title. We have our weekly overview statement. And that weekly overview statement is meant to give context for what the student will do or experience throughout the week, why it's important to the student, and either for the foundation of this course or in their future career or academic journey, or just in general why it could be important. We also use the weekly overview to connect a Christian worldview perspective to the content, depending on what it is. You can include quotes here or really anything to just engage the student and tell them the idea of what's in it for them. So that's kind of our thought process of the weekly overview statement. It prepares the student for the week. Usually I'd say it's about 1 paragraph long, or in the case that it is a video, sometimes we make weekly overview videos instead of having text, then it would be about a minute long. Next, we have our CLOs, and here's where we list our course learning objectives that are going to be addressed in this particular week. And usually we would just list the number, which if you've seen my video on the vision document, you will know that we number our course learning objectives, and then the corresponding number would be the objective that's addressed. But you can kind of list it out however you please. Next, we have our weekly materials. So we break these down into 3 sections, which are read, watch, and engage. So read is anything that the students will read. It'll be text formatted, so any type of journal article or textbook that we're asking them to read. Watch would be any type of video that they're supposed to watch. And then engage would be anything else. Typically in engage, we have a lot of instructional media. So those can be any types of widgets, or we utilize H5P a lot, which is a service for widgets, podcasts, anything else kind of outside of read and watch would go in the engage section. But really the possibilities are endless there. The next thing that we list out are the discussions. And I am planning on making a video that goes a little bit more into depth on how we approach discussions, so stay tuned for that. But this is just the basic information of what you would include in the module for a discussion. So you would include the title, and it would correspond to whatever the topic was. Next is the discussion overview. So this would be any type of it's basically an overview of what the student will discuss. So this is where you could introduce your resources. So if you're asking students to watch a different video or to read something else outside of the required weekly reading, then you would kind of introduce that. You would give them a little bit more context about the discussion and how it connects to whatever the topic is for the week or the overall course topic. And then you would kind of lead into the discussion with the statement. So again, it's a little bit similar to the weekly overview, but this discussion overview really gives context specifically for the discussion. Then we have our resources. So if there are additional resources, like I mentioned, we would add them here, but this is completely optional for us. If there isn't something else that the student should read, watch, or engage with to complete the discussion, we don't include this in our build. So we would just say not applicable. Then we jump into our initial response question. So this is what we are going to ask the student to initially respond to. And usually this connects to the resources or the weekly content, or whatever the prompt is. If it's something a little bit outside of that, this is where we would ask them to formulate an initial response about or for those things. Next, we have our initial response requirements. So at LAPU, we have program requirements, and depending on what the course is and what program it is a part of, those requirements will be unique. So that's something that the instructional designers take care of, because a lot of the other members of the design team, again, if they're external employees, they may not be aware of that. So that's something that we go ahead and add, and we would add like word count if students are required to cite anything. If it can be a video or audio response, then we'd put the length of time that's required for that and so forth. Next is the peer discussion question. So these are guiding questions that we include to help facilitate communication among the peers. So it may be more of like share your opinion, or do you agree, or add to your colleague's initial response, or it can be something that is a lot more specific, and it just depends on the topic. And then again, we would just add the discuss requirements as well. So this could be the number of posts that students are required to make, how long, and so forth. Next is the assignment row, and in this row, we would only list if an assignment is assigned or due in the week. We have a completely separate document where we outline assignment instructions and requirements. So for the purposes of this section, we would just list assigned and due dates so that we can kind of keep track of when students first see assignments and when they're required to turn them in, and how that measures up to what else is included in the module. So for example, if students are required to submit 2 assignments, they have an intense discussion forum, and they're also required to read and watch and engage with a lot of content. That's something that we'd want to keep in mind and maybe adjust if the week is just heavy overall. Then we have our instructional media needs. So if there is media that needs to be made, we would list it here, and that also helps our instructional media designer keep track of what is required of them and what they need to create and in which weeks it is supposed to go in. So we would just list that out here. Usually we just stick to titles, and then we put a link to the script or a link to the actual instructional media once it's done. But again, that just keeps us all on track of what media goes where, what is needed, what needs to be created, and so forth. And then the last thing that we have in every week is instructor notes and continuing engagement questions. So instructor notes could be anything that would give the instructor just more information about what they need to be doing for the success of the course. So this could be, make sure that every student is in a group, or make sure that you comment on X, Y, and Z that is required this week, or so forth. And then the continuing engagement questions are suggestions for instructors to post in the discussion forum, just to help facilitate communication and to help students feel comfortable answering the questions as well. So these are just questions that relate to the discussion topic that the instructor can post throughout the week to help continue the dialogue between students, or just give them other opportunities to answer a question. So really just facilitates learning and helps achieve that discussion atmosphere, as if the student was having a discussion in person with someone. So I believe that rounds out our modules document. If you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. I think that it really is straightforward, and it helps organize all of the thoughts and ideas as well. But yet, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to see anything more specific about this document, drop me a comment and let me know, and I can definitely make a video on that. And I do want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is the MSIDT program, or Master of Science in Instructional Design and Technology. It's our first instructional design program here at LAPU. It's self-paced. You can bring in everything that you're passionate about and even work projects to the program. And you get one-on-one feedback from a faculty coach, which makes it super awesome, not only to build that professional relationship, but to get specific feedback on your work and to help you build out your portfolio. So if you're interested, please give that QR code a scan or drop us an email at msidt@lapu.edu. Thank you for tuning in to My Life as an ID today. My name is Kenna Miller, and this is what learning feels like. See you next time.